Mike Schmidt, you can take your apology and shove it up your ass. We're here to talk about his comments today about Odubel Herrera from the other day. Disgusting comments. Tony Del Grosso is here. I'm Adrian Fedq. What can I say? I mean, palm to the face.
Yeah, I think Keith Law said it best. He had a tweet when it's basically said something along the lines of, it sucks when Hall of Fame players start acting like that racist uncle you know on Facebook. Because that's kind of what Mike Schmidt sounds like right now. This isn't the first time he's made some head-scratching, borderline racist comments. He's a guy who admittedly doesn't watch much baseball outside of the handful of weekend games the Phillies give him. He's not a full-time Phillies announcer. For those of you who don't know, he just does occasional weekend games. But at this point, I'm not really sure why the Phillies keep him on, because he doesn't provide much. And I think you could read the quote now, but you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah. So when asked if Odubel Herrera can be a leader, here is what Mike Schmidt said on WIP. My honest answer to that would be no, because of a couple things. First of all, it's a language barrier. Because of that, I think he can't be a guy that would sort of sit in a circle with 4 or 5 American players and talk about the game, or try and learn about the game, or discuss the inner workings of the game, or come over to a guy and say, man, you got to run that ball out. Just can't be, because of the language barrier, that kind of player. Odubel can be, you see what he's doing the last 3 days, and we saw the inconsistency that dropped his batting average all the way down to the low 200s prior to the last 3 games. And that's really the first time we've seen that kind of inconsistency from him. However, he's more of a sort of play the game, allow his exuberance for the game to kind of spread around the team. I think the fans love him. He's not afraid to do things that sort of irk the other team, if you will. And you know what that is. I probably would hate him if I played against him because of his antics on the field, but he's not afraid. He's not afraid to do that. He's learning to play a really good center field. They haven't figured out where he needs to hit in the batting order yet. To answer your question, those are the reasons that I don't think you can build a team around him. Now, I truly think he can hit second or first on a championship team. There's no question about that. But to build a team around a guy, he has to sprint every ball out like Chase Utley used to do. He has to be more of a, I want to say, a friend. Not that he's not a friend. It's hard to describe what I mean. The language barrier means a lot because his communication with teammates is limited. I don't think I'm disrespecting him by any means, but when you say build a team around somebody, you're generally talking about a Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Mike Trout kind of player. Players that are automatically all-stars every year. End of quote. There you go.
Wow. Was that just one dog whistle after another? Holy hell. I don't want to act like I'm trying to crucify Mike Schmidt, because I don't think he really truly intended any of that in a malicious way. But again, it just shows how out of touch he is. When you say Odubel Herrera can't interact with other American players, that's just kind of absurd. You're trying to make it a language issue, but it's clearly not a language issue.
You know what I think?
Go ahead.
You know what's stupid as fuck? He says like he can't communicate with his teammates, but 40% of them are Latin American.
Yeah, that's why none of this makes any sense, because I mean, you look at probably a third, a half, if not more, of your major league clubhouses, they're led by Spanish-speaking players. Just off the top of my head, like Miguel Cabrera, who do you think's the leader in the Detroit clubhouse? Albert Pujols in Anaheim. Who do you think's the leader in that clubhouse? It's not Trout, because Albert Pujols has been doing it for 15 years. I could go on and on. Toronto, Jose Bautista is the leader in that clubhouse. Spanish-speaking guys they're probably a third of Major League Baseball, if not more.
Actually, I got the number right here. 31.7% of the league. So you're about right there.
There you go. It kind of just goes, and it's the changing demographics of the country are going to reflect a little bit into Major League Baseball. It's kind of like, the crotchety old white guy saying, "Get off my lawn. I don't like how things are changing." To add on to that, I guess we could get into Jerry Remy a little bit right now. Don't need to read the quote, because if you want to, you could get into it. But a few nights ago, and this blows my mind because Tanaka has been in the league for 5, 6 years now. So it's definitely not the first time Jerry Remy has watched Tanaka pitch. But Jerry Remy is an analyst for Boston. Tanaka was pitching against Boston, and he had a translator come out to the mound and speak with him. And Remy kind of lost it. And it was weird because this was the same day that Mike Schmidt, just insensitive, dumb remarks. To me, it blows my mind because that the diversity in baseball is what's keeping it alive, and one of the few opportunities that it has to grow.
That's where this game is going. It's the Spanish speaking. That's where it's going.
Right.
White kids don't want to play baseball anymore.
Right. There's this, I don't want to say a myth that baseball is a white man's game, but if you look at the actual breakdown of the teams, white guys probably only make up 50% of rosters anymore. It's become, you're getting an influx of guys from Latin America. Yeah, you're starting to get more and more from Japan. And not only are these guys just making rosters, these guys are all-stars. These guys are the best players in the league. These guys are, like we said, clubhouse leaders. So if Schmidt and Jerry Remy don't like it, I don't know what to tell them, because it's not going to change.
And I will,
again, I'm not trying to.
I don't know what the ratio was back in the 80s, but I do remember Roberto Clemente. And you're telling me, Mike Schmidt, that you wouldn't want Roberto Clemente on your baseball team because he doesn't speak English?
I think Clemente was done before that, but yeah. No, I it's just, it's just guys who don't change, and I agree with Schmidt on a purely baseball standpoint. No, Odubel Herrera is not somebody you can build your team around. I'm trying to say.
I agree with that. But the way he approached it, obviously.
Right. But what Mike Schmidt said definitely did not go unnoticed by the baseball world. If you guys remember Manny Acta, he used to be the Nationals manager, and he tweeted, and now he didn't, direct it at Mike Schmidt, but I think we will know what he's talking about.
Yeah, subtweet.
He said, "Apologize for what you said. You were only doing it because you got caught. Change your thinking and way you see others. Until then, ... And that was in response to Schmidt's half-assed apology. Do you want to read that, or?
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Where did I put it?
He started the apology by saying, "If I offended anyone, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
Which, like, whatever he says after that is irrelevant at that point. Because, Mike, the fact that you had to apologize means that obviously you offended some people. The fact that you felt obligated to call Odubel Herrera afterwards and speak to him personally one-on-one shows that what you said was probably kind of dumb. So, it to me is just a classic non-apology apology.
Yeah. It's been made known to me that my answer on a radio interview this morning to the question, can the Phillies build a team around Odubel Herrera, was disrespectful to Herrera and Latin players in general. I'm very sorry that this misrepresentation of my answer occurred and may have offended someone. I assure everyone that I had no intention of that. Odubel is a dynamo on the field, and as he becomes more comfortable with the language, come on, his leadership skills will improve as he becomes more comfortable with the language. Come on, dude. You don't have to speak to him in Spanish.
Yeah, Ichiro still has it.
Or in English.
It doesn't matter.
He doesn't have to speak English. Ichiro didn't speak English. He was good.
Yeah. Especially a guy who's not communicating with the pitcher and catcher. What the heck? He's basically all alone out there in center field. He really doesn't need to communicate with anyone. He can make nonverbal communications with your right and left fielder if you really need to.
Yeah.
Other than that, call I got it. I got it is the same in every language.
That's true. It's very true. All right, so
Really
yeah,
big
I got
things.
nothing else on the topic. I mean, we weren't going to spend that much time on it. What else? You got anything else you want to say?
No, that pretty much hit it. I think you know, when we saw those comments, we said, "Oh, we need to mention it." And I think maybe just to finish, me personally, I think it's time that Schmidt should just go before he says something even stupider. And he like really tarnishes his reputation because he really doesn't provide anything. You know, like I said, he made the comment last year, those know each other, which I was shocked and caused some outrage, probably because I feel like it was the middle of August and I was probably one of only 3 people watching the Phillies at that time. So nobody heard it. But like I said, he's said stuff like this just for a while. And he doesn't really provide much as an analyst. He admittedly barely watches baseball anymore. So he said, you know, he barely knows the other team's players half the time. And he just says asinine things about the game and about, you know, other players anymore. So if I'm the Phillies, I would just kind of say, Mike, how about you take on a different role in the organization before you really putting your foot in your mouth?
Yeah, I'm with you there for sure, 100%. So that's about it for this show. I got nothing else. You got any final thoughts?
That's it for me.
All right, so that's Tony Del Grosso. I'm Adrian Fetchu. Hopefully we can get this solo video thing solution, because you were supposed to do a solo video on this, and unfortunately YouTube did not let another person log into my account. So I don't know why this is like this, and they never sent me a code, and it was weird, but whatever. Hopefully we'll get this fixed up soon.
We will. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right, we're out. Peace.
Later.